Hi, this is Charles Kelly. Hope you're having a good day. What's happening today? Well, I've got a report from Rightmove that activity in property is soaring. People are back out buying properties again, which is good news for the market. And it looks like that there's been a definite sort of bounce back from the from the days where property activity and prices had slumped to a low back in April, just a couple of months ago in May. Now, this is according to Rightmove, that this has started to accelerate since the announcement of the stamp duty tax cut by Rishi Sunak, according to the property website Rightmove, which has become the standard, I think, if you know what I mean, for property news. And the number of sales agreed in England soared by 35% in the 5 days following Sunak's announcement on July the 8th. So that's incredible how that made people rush out and buy. So that's good news. So from that point of view, the tax cut worked. And the market was already showing some signs of recovery from a low in April. And agreed sales have gone up by 15%. I think you remember I reported a little while ago that prices had risen in some areas up by 3-4%, but some areas had stayed pretty flat. Now he raised the threshold for paying stamp duty on property purchases up to £5,000 until next March. And Rightmove also said that prices had risen by 3.7% just between June and July, with estate agents anecdotally reporting increased in interest in property, and also a shortage of properties for sale. So whereas they had loads of properties on the market, they're finding that there's not so many properties there, and properties were selling very, very fast. I've spoken to a few people. One of them was my cousin. She said she put a property on the market to see what would happen. This is about a month ago, and it sold within 5 days, and that was a £600,000 property. So there was obviously some sort of pent-up demand which caused that initial surge, because don't forget, after the lockdown all the agents closed down. They were putting staff on furlough. There were still properties selling at auction, but everything went dead, and there must have been people there waiting to move, waiting to get on with things, and that caused this initial surge, I guess. And you should remember that we talk about property investment and all your money's in property and property this and property that, but really if it's a home, it's not so much an investment, it's a place to live and should be treated that way. In fact, if you look at an investment should be putting money in your pocket, but property generally takes money out of your pocket, and in the long run it may drop, it may go up and down, but over the years it tends to go up. And in any case, you have to live somewhere. You're either going to be paying a mortgage or paying rent, usually at a higher rate, especially when interest rates are low. Usually it's cheaper to buy a place than it is to rent. If I went out in my area and rented a 3-bed house, it would cost me £1,500 a month. Now, if I had, 20-25% deposit and I could buy that same house, a mortgage might cost me £800, £900 a month. I'm just guessing top of my head, depending on the deposit and the deal. But it would certainly cost a lot less than £1,500 a month. And I can do what I like with it, and it should go up in value over time. So it's still a good idea to buy a property, although I wouldn't be in any particular rush. But let's see what happens. Maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe you should be out there rushing because prices are going up. But mortgage lenders, though, Halifax and Nationwide, reported falls in house prices, but this is back. Their information is going back a bit. So perhaps back to May. According to Bank of England data, but the latest data is what's happening in the market, what the viewings, the agreed sales, the asking prices and that sort of thing, and they are all up. Rightmove said that buyer inquiries were up 75% in July, and the Bank of England governor, they're usually very cautious, Andrew Bailey, said that there were signs of activity returning quite strongly in the housing market. And during the lockdown, Rightmove's website inquiries dropped by 40%, and most agents, as I said, were closed for business. Now, this news comes at a time when hardly a day goes by when we don't hear about another employer laying off thousands of workers. I mean, today it was Marks and Spencer's, and another fashion company closing offices down in London as well. Or we hear about big losses or closures of branches, closures of divisions, slimming down. Definitely, that seems to be happening. Unemployment could soar up to 4 million, according to the Office of Budget Responsibility. And yet, at the same time, the stock market seems to be going up, and people seem to be out buying properties again. Well, there you go. It confounds logic, in my opinion. But that's the way it goes. And it also comes at a time when lenders are squeezing the availability of mortgages. I reported this last week that mortgage products have been withdrawn. There's not so many products available. People are required to put down bigger deposits. Interest rates have gone up, and lenders are becoming more cautious. And yet, at the same time, property, there's been this initial surge. Now, anecdotally, as I said, some people are saying, well, there's a big rush to buy stuff and there's not enough around. That's probably the case. Maybe people are not selling at the moment. They're just drawing in their horns. But we shall see. We shall see what happens. It'll be interesting to see what will happen over the next couple of months. A lot of people are predicting a sort of an autumn fall in the stock market, which could cause a bit of panic. We're getting to the stage where people will the furlough, the job retention scheme, will eventually be coming to an end. It'll be interesting to see what happens then, whether all those jobs will come back or whether those people will actually go on the job market and be unemployed and be claiming benefits. A lot of people are congratulating the government on the scheme because it said it keeps people from becoming unemployed. But I'm not so sure. I mean, I think maybe employers are just taking advantage of this and may lay a lot of people off anyway. The new job retention bonus doesn't seem to be doing much good in helping. And then people say, well, it's better to have them in a job than unemployed. Well, not if you're paying 80% of their salary and they're doing nothing. It'd be cheaper to have them on the dole, looking at it in a callous way, because nobody can go onto unemployment benefit, getting 80% of their salary up to 30,000, no questions asked. But there you go. All I know is that the government are printing loads of money. They're creating 300 billion of debt this year. That all has to be sorted out somewhere down the line with tax increases, cuts in spending, or whatever, maybe higher interest rates. So if I was a first-time buyer, I wouldn't be panicking and rushing out and buying at the moment. I would still be waiting to see what happens. I mean, so if prices go up by 3 or 4%, that's not a big deal here or there. It's not much to write home about, really. What matters is the activity in the market, whether there's property available, and whether you can borrow money. So there you have it. That's the news. Property seems to be booming again. Is property still a good investment? Long term, I think property is still a good investment. There's no doubt about it over the long term. However, buying a house for your own needs, for a home buyer, is not so much an investment. It's more, settling and giving yourself some security so that you've got somewhere to live. That's the main thing about that. So thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in, and I will speak to you again soon. Thanks everyone who tuned in on Facebook Live, Sujat and Josie and anybody out there. Great to hear from you. And remember that if you're tuning in from abroad, I'm talking about the UK market, which in the UK we obsess about property. We always talk about property. How much is your house worth? How much has it gone up by? We're a nation of property owners. So that's why we're always talking about property here. So thanks for listening and have a great evening. Bye for now.